First things first, big shout out to World of Warships for sponsoring this video. There's a common laptop repair that shops like mine all around the world do every single day. And this repair is only necessary due to the sheer laziness and cost cutting of manufacturers. Can you guess what it is? If you answered hinges, you're right. If you answered something else, then you should feel terrible about what you've done. Shame. Because not a day goes by in my shop where I don't get a call or an email about a mount or lid that's snapped off the hinge. I mean, whatever happened to designing laptops to be durable? Expecting these cheap plastic mounts and weak adhesive to support the strength of this sturdy hinge is like expecting a sailboat to survive a battle against a destroyer in something like World of Warships, which is a free-to-play naval warfare-themed game that's available on PC. And with fresh content released every month, there's always something new to look forward to, whether it's new ships, cosmetics, or even classes. And with multiple ship classes to choose from, you don't have to worry about breaking hinges because you'll be too focused on breaking the hulls of your enemy. And when they do break, you'll be able to see it in stunning clarity thanks to those realistic graphics which include insanely accurate water effects and textures, combined with dynamic weather that's always changing and over 600 ships from 10 different nations. And what you have is an amazing game that you can play alone or in a division with your friends.
There's a guy behind me, dude.
Oh, and did I mention it's available for consoles? Because it is. No matter how you choose to play it, I think you'll agree that it's the greatest warship game that's ever lived. So dive right into World of Warships yourself using the first link in my description below and use the promo code BRAVO to receive a huge starter pack including 500 doubloons, 7 days of premium account time, and a free ship after completing 10 battles. Now if only hinge mounts were made as sturdy as these ships. Oh yeah, back to that.
Lupe, when's the last time you watered that thing?
Self-watering plant.
Now if you wonder why I'm so pissed, why I'm so angry, it's this.
What's that?
The f does it look like? So this is the hinge of an ASUS Zen... How do you say ASUS?
ASUS.
ASUS. This is a ASUS Zenbook Q49Z, right? And this is actually a pretty decent computer. It's nice and thin, like your boy, and it has a lot of power. So it's an i7 in this thing, or it's an i5. There's an i5 in here, i5. It has a OLED screen, so the screen does look nice. But even better, do you know what they advertise? Their 180-degree lay-flat ergo-lift hinge.
And US military-grade durability, which is very reassuring.
Look at this.
You see the glue marks on there.
Yeah. So instead of using a solid piece of aluminum for their back lid, ASUS just decides to throw some glue on here and slap this metal slab onto it, this thin metal piece, right, where the hinge mounts screw into, onto that. Look how thin this is. And then they have the balls to advertise this like this is some sort of amazing selling point.
It's actually kind of hilarious that they traded one type of hinge failure for another, with both being the result of half-assing and cost-cutting. Because the other common hinge failure is when the screws rip out these nuts that are molded into the plastic mount on the display lid or the frame of the laptop. Now, instead of using plastic, they use metal, which is great, except they glue it to the display lid, proving they will try literally every design that's cheaper than just milling a single piece of metal with embedded mounts.
This laptop I think cost around $800 brand new because it has that OLED screen, and thankfully the screen hasn't broken yet, but this is a mail-in and the guy just wanted the hinge repaired. And unfortunately, the only way to actually repair this thing is to order a new back panel. And of course, ASUS doesn't sell parts. I have to order the display lid from China, and it's gonna take like a month. This guy probably doesn't have a month to wait, and I don't have a month to wait because I don't want this thing on my bench for a month, like some other computers I have here, which also happen to be a ASUS. So what the fuck, right? You buy an $800 laptop, you expect the hinge to be a little sturdier than this thing. Why do companies keep doing this? What's the point of having such a nice screen and you're advertising these hinge design when the hinges are attached to like this tiny piece of metal that's glued to another piece of metal? What the fuck? How much more money would it have cost to just have a solid block for the display lid? How much? $5? And by dollars I mean cents. As somebody who has to clean up after engineering mistakes, it's very aggravating. Now, you know what company does not have this issue? Apple. Apple does not have this issue. And Razer doesn't have this issue because both of those companies use a solid piece of aluminum for their back lid. And all these manufacturers wonder why people are going over to Apple, and it's because of dumb shit like this. that continuously breaks no matter what you spend on a laptop, this is the quality that you get. And that's not right. But what am I gonna do? I'm gonna try to repair this. Now the customer doesn't wanna wait 30 days. And normally I would never try to just glue a hinge back on because I don't like fixing something like that. I don't call that a fix. I think that's just like a Band-Aid fix, right? It's a Band-Aid fix that I can't guarantee is gonna last, and I don't wanna do that because everything I repair here, I wanna make sure it lasts because I only do the best job that I can possibly do here.
Now this job requires a lot of skill, but even the greatest technician that's ever lived is limited by the tools they have to complete the job to the best of their ability. And now that I have all the tools I need, there's only one thing I need to do to guarantee this win. Ah, much better. Now where were we? So the plan is to grind off the adhesive from the back lid and the hinge mount to create a clean surface to put some JB Weld on. For those of you that don't know, JB Weld is a type of epoxy or adhesive that's known as the strongest epoxy that's ever lived. It's commonly used to hold together Kia engines before they burst into flames. So the first step in this totally preventable repair is to remove that fancy OLED screen ASUS loves to remind you of, which is pretty straightforward because modern laptops use double-sided adhesive, not screws, to adhere the display panel to the frame. To their credit, they include little pull tabs, so I just pinch it with my tweezers before utilizing my tiny raccoon-like fingers to pull. Jeez, I've only seen one other thing stretched like that, and she's sitting 2 rooms over from you. Now that both sides are rid of the sticky white substance, I just need to detach the cable from the display so we can get to the goods, or in this case, the bads. And even though my eyesight is also the bads, I don't want to have to sue myself. So on go the safety glasses to protect my wet globes of vision. And now for the fun part. Followed by some sucking action from my broken hand vac, because a clean workspace is a happy workspace. Then I pretend this lid is my knob and give it a good polish before tackling the adhesive on the hinge itself. Next up is to mix the 2 JB Weld compounds to create a visual representation of what it would be like if Lupe and I had a baby. And as the fumes enter our brains, spontaneous karaoke erupts during the mixing process.
Rebel, yeah, she cry mo, mo, mo.
In a midnight wow.
Now that we have a beautiful gray specimen, I'm gonna apply a thin layer of it on the lid. I'm very precise where I apply my paste, as is evident by the fact I have no children. Next step is to gently put the metal mount into place, before clamping it and leaving it overnight to sober up. And we're back.
Testing, testing, testing.
We filming?
Yep.
Is it live? Well, let's see if it worked.
Everything looks good, the JB Weld is dry and the mount is sturdy. Now I just need to screw the hinge to it to see if it will stick.
All right. Looks like it held up. Looks like JB Weld actually worked.
And after the boring process of reapplying the double-sided adhesive, we have to remount that display panel and cover up its offensive parts with the display bezel. Before launching into a tirade that only my fellow repair shop veterans can relate to.
Someone just left you a voicemail.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Does it look important?
Sorry to bother you. I just spoke with you.
Sorry to bother you. If you were sorry to bother me, you wouldn't have bothered me. Siri, why the fuck? Like, the problem is that, I can fix your computer. It's like a car. I can fix it, but it's up to you to know how to use it, man. It's like you don't call your mechanic and ask them, how do I 3-point turn? But yet it's acceptable in our industry, and it's fucking aggravating. Because you do one repair and all of a sudden you own that machine for the rest of your life. And how do you charge them? They're gonna call you for the rest of the time. Open a computer repair business, they said. It'll be fun, they said.
And questioning the entire process of designing a laptop.
I would love to know what happens when the engineers get approached by the accounting department and they say, we need to use less materials on the hinge, or less materials on the display lid. And the engineer says, that's gonna compromise the integrity of the structure, gonna break the computer. And accounting says, break these nuts, bitch.
They can buy another one.
They can buy another one. And now this stupid piece of shit. They put more engineering, or they put more thought.
COVID.
They put more thought into engineering how to cover up and make this thing look nice than they did the actual integrity of the structure. Battery connected. Wow.
That was like a flex.
Bruh. What? Okay, let's not do that.
Now, the moment of truth.
We opened. I'm gonna give them credit here. The tension on the hinge is actually pretty good. Because right on other laptops, like this piece of shit, you try to open it with one finger, and what'll it do? What'll it do? It'll flip up. This thing will just fucking flip open. The hinges will already break on this. Is an X360 HP. This poor thing. Let's not even get into that. I don't even want to acknowledge that existence. All right, so it looks like this is fixed. I mean, define fixed, right? It's as fixed as it can be. Customer saves a lot of money. The JB weld is probably going to hold up better than the original adhesive did. Why do I have to do this repair? This repair shouldn't be necessary. I should not have to do this repair. The consumer should not have to pay me to do this repair. They can do it themselves, of course, but that's not the point. The point is this shit shouldn't happen in the first place. In 2024, this should not happen. I beg you. If anybody watches this video, no one's gonna watch this video. If anybody does, just make a single piece.
Mildy.
What? Just make a solid piece of aluminum or metal or whatever and include the fucking hinge mounts in that piece. When you're doing your CNC, man, just a little square and then drill the screw holes for the hinge mounts into that little square and make it one piece. That's it. That's all I ask. Stop using glue. Stop using thin fucking metal. Consumers deserve better. That's what I'm getting at. If Apple can do it back in 2010 and continue to do it to this day, if they can do it, man, then these manufacturers can do it. If they're charging $750 for a laptop, there's no excuse that they can't do this. That's it. That's why I'm a drug addict.
Jokes aside, I want to make this clear if I haven't already. This isn't an ASUS problem. This is an industry problem. In fact, right after this repair was mailed back out, I got a Lenovo Yoga in the shop for a simple display panel replacement. And guess what? The exact same thing happened. This is unacceptable, and these manufacturers have no one but themselves to blame for the current trend of consumers jumping ship to MacBooks, which, no matter how you feel about Apple and their anti-earth, anti-consumer practices, have a much better build quality than nearly every single laptop on the market. But that wraps up this video. Let me know how you like this format and what you'd like to see next. And as always, I appreciate you getting this far, and I hope you learned something or at least got a good laugh in. And don't forget to check out World of Warships by clicking the link in my description below, and use that promo code BRAVO to cash in on all those freebies I mentioned earlier. I'll see you in the next one.